Every child wellness effort, like child abuse and neglect prevention, should communicate the same message to all of humanity. Children are important individuals with inherent rights, just like adults. They have endowed, unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Unalienable means these rights cannot be diminished, taken away, or surrendered. Parents do not have any justification to deprive children of their rights, but they do have a responsibility to provide and care for a child to ensure their rights are being exercised and respected. Children have rights, and society is championing for their rights. While we remain divided about what rights should be inherent of parental stewardship, and there's much to be said about the appropriate role of government intervention in a child's life, every child deserves a standard level of care. Society has a duty to collectively define this standard level of care and ensure it is being upheld for every vulnerable individual. Prevention needs to be collaborative. We discussed the functioning of a multidisciplinary team in the investigation of child maltreatment and how this collaborative effort increases the potential for a child's best possible outcome. The team of child abuse and neglect prevention should include its citizens and disciplines. Child protective services and law enforcement resources are taxed, and their focus is often on the cases which demonstrate a chance for investigative success. Cases which are difficult, ambiguous, tedious, etc. may be neglected for favor of those which manifest in a more conclusive and evident fashion. This is where community collaboration is extremely important. Individuals who witness the child over time are more privy to the nuances of his or her situation and/or see the investigative difficulties play out. These individuals need to champion for that child and make sure he or she is not overlooked. It is unacceptable for any child to be abused or neglected. There will always be more serious or damaging cases than the one you are witnessing, but that does not mean some children should suffer. It can be frustrating to report a child's situation once, twice, even multiple times, and never see the system engage. But your tenacity is important, and you should continue to do the right thing in each instance. Report every time you witness a suspected child abuse or neglect. Prevention efforts have to be customized to the community needs. The demographics, economy, and culture of a community vary the manifestation of child maltreatment and prevention needs. Citizens should be engaged and attuned to the particular challenges of their community and adapt their focus and energies appropriately. For instance, does your community have a large population of a certain faith or religion? How about young single mothers? Is it a small town where everyone knows everyone else and also their personal business? Is there a major university in your community that influences local culture? Have there been any major local incidents and news headlines about an egregious case of child maltreatment? How about cases of police corruption? All of these circumstances can affect the culture of a community and their general attitude towards recognizing and reporting suspected child abuse. Prevention activities in your community should reflect these unique challenges and engage citizens where they live. Prevention efforts should reflect the different expectations we have of adults versus the expectations we have of children. For too long, we have held children to developmentally inappropriate standards of behavior while we look towards ways to justify or rationalize the abusive behavior of adults. This is reflected in the culture war still ranging in specific cases. Adolescent victims of sexual abuse, particularly when the adolescent victim is a developed or precocious girl, or the victim is an adolescent male and his abuser is an attractive adult woman. Often the adolescent victim is held to the same accountability as the adult perpetrator.
Oh, she looks like she's much older. She should know better. I don't know what the big deal is. If a hot 25-year-old teacher made moves on me when I was 14, I would have been ecstatic. She was over the age of consent. He shouldn't get in trouble for a consensual relationship just because he was her coach.
Comments like these, frequently made in the context of adolescent victims of sexual abuse, reflect a lack of understanding about the imbalance of power inherent with the sexual interaction between a child and an adult. The brains and cognitive functioning of children are different than those of adults. Specifically, the prefrontal cortex is still developing well into the 20s, with some research indicating 25 years until the brain reaches full maturation. This region of the brain is responsible for thought analysis, regulating behavior, making decisions, weighing outcomes of decisions, and governing social control. Its function encompasses many cognitive abilities we recognize as what differentiates a child from an adult. While an adolescent's body and appearance may look sexually mature, their brains are not fully developed and capable of making decisions about sexual engagement with someone who has already reached a cognitive maturation. Protecting children often means protecting them from themselves, the unhealthy choices they might make if left to their own devices, and the adults who would exploit this vulnerability.